This is Burl Ives, and I've got a story for you. It's about a man who didn't obey God and the lessons he learned because he didn't. The man's name was Jonah. The story began in a place called Nineveh. Nineveh was a wicked town, a sickening place indeed, carrying on, carousing around, filled with sin and greed. Nineveh was a wicked place, a wild, wild town, you see. The entire place was a known disgrace. I'm sure that you'd agree. And the Lord is a patient Lord, you know. He only waits so long. And he watched the sin in Nineveh grow and said, "This town is all wrong." The Lord is a gentle God, you see. And he saw that dreadful town, and he said, "I'll end their sinful spree. I believe I'll tear it down." God found Jonah a long way away and said, "My mind's ill at ease. Jonah, I want you to pack up today and go tell that town that God is displeased." He said, "I want you to go over there and tell every person alive the town of Nineveh had better beware, 'cause none's likely to survive." But he didn't do what the good Lord said. Jonah left that day and took the road to Joppa instead. He went the other way. Said Jonah in Joppa, "I think I'll hop a ship. Surely my plan can't fail. How can anyone stop a ship that has already set sail?" It was a beautiful day and a sparkling sea, but Jonah wasn't bold. "If I stand on deck, God might notice me," said Jonah. "I'll hide in the hold." So Jonah hid in the hold below, something I find quite odd, 'cause a man like Jonah ought to know nobody hides from God. Above, the sailors worked on the deck, doing their jobs together. The captain heard thunder and turned to check. He said, "We're in for some weather." The storm moved directly overhead. The captain watched it form. "This isn't ordinary weather," he said. "The God must have brought this storm." "Whichever God you worship," said the captain to the men, "pray to him for our poor ship, or we'll never see land again." The sailors prayed to different gods. The storm continued to blow. The captain said, "It's truly odd. Could there be God that none of us know?" The captain shouted, "Row for the shore." A wave came crashing down. "It's no use," said the sailors manning the oars. "It looks like we're going to drown." The captain yelled, "Lighten the ship! Go into the deep!" The men ran below at an urgent clip and found Jonah fast asleep. "Why are you sleeping?" the captain roared. "Why, we've done everything we can think. Get up on the deck and pray to your Lord. This ship is going to sink." "I'll find who's at fault at any cost," said the captain. "We'll all draw straws." Guess who drew the short straw and lost? The men looked at Jonah in awe. "Who are you and what do you do? And who can your God be?" Jonah was asked by the men of the crew as they watched suspiciously. Jonah admitted, "I tried to run, and my God is angry with me." And then he said, "My God is the one who created the land and the sea." The sailors asked, will we survive if we all pray to your Lord? Jonah replied, no, to save your lives you must throw me overboard. The lightning flash lit the sail. The sailors knew God's will. They tossed poor Jonah over the rail. At once the sea was still. Jonah was swept down into the ocean, and tangled there he stayed. The sailors turned to his God with emotion, and every one of them prayed. Jonah tried to struggle free, but the seaweed held him fast. Then from the depths of the murky sea, a giant form swam past. Jonah knew that he was beaten. Oh, what terrible trouble. He tried to shout before he was eaten, but all he could do was bubble. Jonah fought and Jonah wallowed. To survive was his only wish. Then he was caught and he was swallowed in the jaws of a giant fish. 3 days God made Jonah stay in the monstrous fish's belly. For 3 long days Jonah prayed and said, it sure is smelly. And for 3 long days Jonah learned the lesson God wanted to teach. Then from the depths the fish returned and spit Jonah up on the beach. God said, Jonah, you're going to find after this episode that the city of Nineveh is still on my mind, so Jonah hit the road. Jonah went to the sinful city and gave them God's instruction. The future of Nineveh doesn't look pretty, said Jonah. You all face destruction. Jonah feared the people would frown, or even worse, get mad. To Jonah's surprise, they gathered round and said, we know we've been bad. The king of Nineveh came out and heard this message Jonah was preaching. He said, I hope we can learn from the word of the Lord as you, Jonah, are teaching. The king told his people to fast, to go without water or food, and pray to God to forgive their past and forget his destructive moods. The people changed their sinful ways while Jonah preached all the while, and God heard the people of Nineveh pray, and he began to smile. The city was saved, but Jonah pouted. I told them the end had come. I stood there and raved. I ranted and shouted, and God spared them. It makes me look dumb. Jonah, said God, it's yourself you pity. And if you can feel sorry for you, then can't I take pity on an entire city? After all, God is merciful too.